Okay, good afternoon to all of you present here. We have with us Mr. Jordan Reeves, who is currently the Consul General for Canada in Mumbai. He joined his position in 2015 and is currently responsible for promoting Canada and India commercial relations. He joined External Affairs at International Trade in 1994. About the film, Meditation Park, it's about a devoted wife, mother and grandmother who has her world rocked when she finds another woman's underwear in her husband's laundry pile, forcing her to confront how powerless she truly is. Her efforts to find out the truth send her on an unexpected journey of liberation. We have the director with us, Mina Shum. Mina Shum is an independent filmmaker. She is a writer and director of award-winning feature films, numerous shorts, and has created site-specific installations and theatre. Her features Double Happiness and Long Life, Happiness and Prosperity both premiered in the US at the Sundance Film Festival. She was director-resident at the Canada Film Centre in Toronto. Now I request the Consul General to say a few words, after which Mina speaks and introduces the rest.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alpana. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first say, on behalf of all of our friends up here, and on behalf of the Canadian delegation, Heritage Canada, Telefilm Canada, National Film Board of Canada, all of our talented producers, directors, writers, actors who have been here, a very warm and heartfelt thank you to the organizers of the festival, but also to the people of Goa and Panjim. Talking with our delegates, it's been an extremely successful week, and I think one of the things that has really impressed a lot of the Canadians who were here for IFFI this year was just the encouragement, the warm welcome, the hospitality, the excitement that everyone here has, not just for IFFI to support the festival, but also the Indian filmmakers and some of the discussions we've had all week. It's been very, very exciting. If you remember, some of you were at a press conference we had at the beginning of the week, and we set out, Canada had a couple of things we wanted to accomplish here. One was, of course, to provide a platform for Canadian films and Canadian artists and filmmakers, and the other was to encourage more collaboration between our two film industries. And I think we have absolutely succeeded in this effect, to this effect. Just this week, for example, we're going to wrap up with Canada's closing film. It's part of the official package of 8 films with Meditation Park later today, but we've had fantastic attendance at the screenings. Our delegates have all been very, very happy with that. We had our co-production seminar. As most of you know, Canada and India have an audiovisual co-production treaty under which, and we're really hopeful that in a year or two, we're going to be looking back and we're going to point to IFFI as the genesis of some very successful films and cooperations that came out of the festival this year here. We've had some brilliant master classes. The artistic director of the Toronto International Film Festival, Mr. Cameron Bailey, put on one. Today, Adam Ogoyan, acclaimed Canadian director, will have another master class. I think Craig Mann was here as well and had a master class as well that was very well attended. We had the Film Bazaar, and Canada was on site with a booth and a number of trade commissioners from our team here in India. And a lot of one-on-one meetings took place, and we're very confident that some contracts and agreements are going to be coming out of that several-day event. And gosh, just before the festival, there are a lot of things here to announce. We've been very busy. Vancouver Film School announced 2 new campuses that they'd be opening in India. And if you recall as well, although Canada is fantastic, we were invited to be country of focus. We were absolutely thrilled. Well, we decided to declare that India would be a country of focus for Canada in the cultural space going forward, and we put more resources and a full-time cultural officer on that job. So we're going to be working full-time from here on out to ensure that these collaborations we've started here at IFFI really do see success. So all the elements are in place, I think, skilling and training. We've got our co-production treaty, the resources in place. Back in Canada, of course, we've got one of the world's best attended international film festivals, the Toronto International Film Festival, with nearly 500,000 participants last year. And we have an incredible pool of internationally recognized creators and technicians. We want to try and make Canada truly become Bollywood West. So we want to work with you to do that. Very last point, because in this industry, timing is everything. Very, very pleased again that IFFI invited Canada to be country of focus. We're celebrating 150 years as a country. It's Canada's birthday. And a very important theme for those celebrations is in fact, Canada's diversity as a country. And I think if you've seen some of the Canadian films that have been screened over the last week, several days, that you'll see that we really are showcasing through film these days the diversity of the country and what it means, and important issues such as inclusiveness in society and themes such as women's empowerment. And I think today, our closing film, Meditation Park, I think is a perfect selection and a perfect way to bring to a close our official package of films here at IFFI, because in fact, those themes are very much a part of Meditation Park. So without any further ado, maybe I can pass things along to Mina Shum, the director, to introduce the film. Yeah, Mina.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. It's absolutely delightful to be in your country and the beautiful space of Goa. I just wanted to say the impetus for the movie, the inspiration for the film, and the character in many ways comes from this idea that we live in a world where many of the citizens feel completely powerless. We can't do anything about the environment. We can't do anything about corporations. And so I wanted to create a character that indeed was very powerless within a family structure. And if Maria, my lead character, can actually overcome and find liberation, then I'm hoping audiences worldwide will be able to find a little bit of inspiration to carry on. The only other thing I will say is that my Indian friends have said that Indian families and traditions and the dichotomy between their traditions and the modern living, that's something that Indian families and Chinese families have in common. And so if that's true, I'm really sorry, because I know what that's like. I think the audiences will be able to relate. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my producer, Steve Hegyes, on the end there. My leading lady, Cheng, who you may know from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, from Lilting, BFI nominee, and really the Queen of Swords, a master actor, Cheng Pei. And to her right, yes, I mean, she deserves applause. She's amazing. And you'll see in the film, she's really, she just steals your heart. We have Tai Ma, who you might have seen in Arrival, and recently, and you're going to be in Skyscraper coming up. Oh. Yes, great American actor. And Don Mckellar, actor, director, writer from Canada. You've met him before, I'm sure. He did a series called Sensitive Skin recently with Kim Cattrall. I'm giving your picture. Oh, Grand Seduction, you might have played here. No? All right. Anyway, this is my wonderful team. They've come to join us, so we'll take questions if you have any. That's them, right?
Yeah.
Take questions.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, absolutely.
But they haven't seen the film. It's strange.
I know. Anybody want to say anything?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, a question for, this is Alfie from All India Radio. A question for Zai Ma. I think you were in 24, you tortured Jack Bauer. You worked with Jackie Chan in, I think, one of the Rush Hour. Yeah. How has the experience been, working with these international stars, these big mega stars, and how is, just overall, how has the experience been?
No one is big and mega as my co-star.
That's right.
She's been an inspiration and an honor to work with. More than Jackie, more than Jack Bauer. I like to torture those guys, you know. But Pepe is really the consummate film partner that I've ever worked with. So that's my comment.
How expensive is, compared to Hollywood films, how expensive is Canadian film industry that is making a film in Canada? How expensive it is or not?
Do you want to answer?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Nikhil from Pune. I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
It really varies. So we will have films that are very small budget independent films, but that's pretty consistent in most other countries as well. There'll be you know, we have very generous support from Telefilm Canada, who is a part of this, the CBC. We have federal and provincial tax credits. These are all things that help fund the film. What's that? Federal, yeah, federal and provincial. And then we also, you know, in co-productions, we will partner with other countries, and the budgets then can increase. But, you know, no one else in the world makes budgets like Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood is, we don't get anywhere near that.
Yeah. If I could just...
Is Canada, Europe or Australia, which has the highest, when you look at production, which place would be better? Are they par or is there any difference?
Well, it's very busy right now. We have there are a lot of you know, new money coming into the system through Netflix and Amazon, Facebook now, and Google as well. But in terms of comparing, it really depends on, you know, what areas you would shoot in. Yeah. So we have very similar budgets on the independent level with Australia. The UK model is higher. They typically do have more money for independent production, and similar to France, for example, they would have a slightly higher.
I would say that Canada, in an international market, in a comparison with all those, Canada has far more international co-production deals than any other of those countries. So they're better equipped in that way as a co-production.
Yeah, that's a very good point. In fact, Canada's had to, for a very long time, work with other countries in co-production capacities. Because that's the only way that we've really managed to raise the budget. So I think, you know, we're a very sophisticated country when it comes to working in the co-production world because of necessity.
And I've just got a couple of figures here that I might as well share on that point from the Government of Canada, right? But in 2016, last year, Canada had 58 official co-productions, which is quite a high number, quite a large number. In total, there were 355 foreign location and services productions in Canada, and the value is $2.6 billion. So you can, and within that, of course, as everyone was saying, there's quite a variation between smaller, low-budget art films and some of the big Hollywood productions as well that were filmed in Canada.
But many Canadian films are not commercially distributed here.
Could you repeat the question?
Canadian films are not commercially distributed in India in large numbers.
No. I mean, we'd like to obviously change that. We'd certainly love to have the opportunity to have Canadian films be a bigger part of the Indian marketplace, certainly. And co-productions between Canada and India would be an excellent place to start.
Sorry. Good afternoon. My name is Roona Agarwal and I'm with All India Radio. I have two questions. My first is to Ms. Shum, Mr. Hughes, maybe Don Mckellar. In terms, as a part of this trip, are you looking at scouting for locations in India? That's one. And has IFI facilitated that in any form, way, shape or form? The second question is to Mr. Ma. Your body of work is extremely wide, very varied, and I think Indian audiences, to Indian audiences, your face is familiar because we have cable TV. We have for the last 20 years now. However, and I think this is something that Indian actors looking to go across borders have struggled with, which is being typecast, the Asian role. Is that something that you have faced? Is it something that you are comfortable with, have embraced, have fought against? How's that been for you?
Okay. Should I go first?
You should go first, I think. It's a meaty question.
Yeah, it's
The answer is yes to all of the above. We have challenged and fought against stereotypical portrayals of who we are. I think we also want to be participatory in terms of reshaping the image the world sees of us. I think it is changing slowly. I think within the parameters of Hollywood, we as actors need to take a more proactive position as to what they see and what we see. Because ultimately, we're the experts of who we are, not them. So most of the time, producers that are unfamiliar with who we are, they are, I think, because of how much money that's involved in making a production, I think they would be open. It would behoove them to listen to us, to really involve us in the creative process. And I think there is more and more of that. I think ultimately, when they begin to see your work out there in the global stage, they begin to realize that you are equally, if not more talented than the people that they have been supporting all this time. And I think giving the global atmosphere of box offices all over the world has been gaining ground against the U.S. I think they are beginning to pay attention because ultimately there's one color Hollywood really understands, and that's the color of green, and it's the color of money. So the more we impress upon them, the more inclusive they are with all the projects that they do, they will make more money. And there's data on that. And I think Canada as a country, it has a long history of it. If you look at the Rumble in the Bronx, it's like 30 years ago. They've been doing these co-productions way back when anybody even thought about doing co-productions. So I think I would encourage all the actors in India to at least, if they're going to make the trip across these vast oceans to America, then be proactive. Tell them who you are. Tell them that your contribution as an artistic contributor is going to be to your advantage, and that the fact that you can involve us in that way, you're going to like the color green a lot more.
Yes, this is a question to Ambassador Reeves. You just mentioned...
Part of our question.
All right.
I'm constantly scouting for ideas. I just landed at 6 in the morning today. But you've been here, Steve, for a while. Have you been scouting? And I'm sure Iffy has been very open about that.
Iffy and the bazaar was really, I think, helpful. I think the process of filmmaking starts with the idea, as Mina said, the script, and once that is established, the creative elements start to come together, and later down the road you get into locations. So there was an opportunity to meet with Indian co-producers through the bazaar, as well as meeting them here at IFFI.
Yes. I would say I acted in a film here in India, in Delhi, about 10 years ago. It was a Canadian film we shot in India, and I loved it so much that I'm not looking specifically for locations here, but I want to have the best food here in Goa, which is a favorite of mine, and to see as much of the city as I can. I'll talk to you after because I just arrived too. So,
and just to note, we do have examples of that. I mean, I think yesterday the film Union, Sanjay Patel's film, is it Union? Yes, which screened yesterday, right? Is an example of a Canadian film filmed in India, and we're seeing more and more of that. You know, Deepa Mehta does some of that sort of work as well. So it's interesting. It's an interesting space. It definitely is a two-way collaboration. So.
Yeah, Ambassador Reeves, this is Mahmood Nawaz. You have earlier also mentioned that now India would be the focus country in your cultural space. But sir, I could not find any announcement officially from the Government of Canada. So are you going to, make this announcement? The Government of Canada is going to make this announcement?
Yeah, sure. We made the announcement here at IFFI. But basically what it was that the Canadian government through Heritage Canada has put some new resources towards developing in the cultural sector relationships with a handful of other countries in the world. India is definitely one of them. So we've started that program this year. And as I mentioned, we hired a full-time cultural officer and we have a budget. This is one of the reasons we were a partner country at FICCI Frames this past year. And also part of the reason why we're a country of focus here at IFFI. And going forward, I think you're going to see a lot more of Canada here in India for some of the reasons I outlined, because we do see the value. Obviously, India as a market is very important. On the business side, this is an incredibly important country, producing more feature films than any other country in the world. We see the value. We've got a large media and entertainment industry in Canada. So just from the business side alone, we see it's very important and the time is right to seriously try and develop these collaborations with India going forward. And then as I mentioned on the cultural side, and when you talk about showcasing and supporting diversity and showing and these themes, these universal themes, trying to bring them out through film, it's obvious that there are many other cultural benefits and benefits for the people-to-people ties between our two countries. And we're starting from such a strong base. There's so many very talented Canadians whose family call India home who work in this industry, from Mr. Akshay Kumar on down. Right? Lisa Ray, and on YouTube, Lily Singh and Russell Peters, and there's a long list of people and talent, and many other unsung heroes who are extremely good filmmakers and directors and producers. I mentioned Deepa Mehta already. So we want to take advantage of this and go the next step. And we're feeling excited and quite confident that we can do that.
My question is for Jordan, sir. Now that India and Canada has decided to have co-productions, how do you look at the Indian market? And do you think can our Bollywood films can be screened in your country?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think there's been a market for a long time, right, for Bollywood films in Canada. There's definitely a captive audience in Canada, and I think as the content of Bollywood films continues to evolve and become a little bit more international, I think the audience in Canada is absolutely there, and it's only going to grow. So yes, absolutely.
Hi, my name is Sonu Pam from Dainik Bhaskar. I have a question for Reeves and Pepe. I'll start with Reeves. Any plans of tying up with Mr. Akshay Kumar to indulge in a cross-cultural promotion of movies? Because he's very well known for his Canadian Connect, and he says that he has an honorary Canadian citizenship. So any plans from your end?
Okay. I think it's a great idea, absolutely. So if you could, anyway, Mr. Akshay Kumar has long been, a great friend of Canada's and a great promoter and supporter in this space. So absolutely, we'd be thrilled to work with someone like Mr. Akshay Kumar. He's already done a lot, but Yes. So the short answer is yes, but there's no specific plan. Yeah? Why not? Why not? Yes. Don says yes, so we're going forward with that.
Pepe, a question for you. Many Chinese superstars as well as their movies are very popular in India, be it Jet Li, Donnie Yen or Jackie Chan, who visited India recently. Unfortunately, we don't see many Indian actors who are quite popular in China. I think the one movie that did really well in China recently was Dangal of Amir Khan. I don't know if you're aware of the same. If yes, then how do you see Indian movies doing well in Chinese market, and what more could be done to popularize it there?
I think it's more easy. It's an action movie. Its music it's different because it's very different Chinese and Indian. But the action, everybody the same. So the action film always is easy to understand. I remember this year I see one of the, it's an Indian film. Yeah, Pari. Yeah, that's an action movie, right? Yeah.
Was it all horses, elephants?
Is that no, not that one. It's a fighting movie. It's one father with, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's a very good box office in China. Yeah. So I think it's more easy to understand.
Did you like the actor in it?
Well, I like it because I'm action movie. I did a lot of action movie. Right now I'm too old for the action, but I'm 72 already. So back to those years, I think Jackie Chan, all those people, is only the son of my movie, in my movie. Yeah. Well, I still love action movie. Yeah. But this one is not action movie because this was a drama telling the people, the woman, how they feel themselves. They let the society accept it.
I have a question for Mina. In your film, Meditation Park, how does the heroine find liberation?
Well, when she finds, you'll have to come see the film. I don't want to give it away. But it's interesting because she finds underwear, someone's underwear in her husband's laundry. And what is a terrible tragedy of potential infidelity, it actually it ignites the whole story for her because she's forced in it. And I think it's true in human nature when sometimes you come up against a crisis, it's that crisis that makes you grow. So she is led into the world for the first time because all she had was, before she found the thong, she was completely devoted to her family. Then she starts becoming devoted to finding out whose thong that is, and it becomes a bit of a whodunit. So she ends up going out into the world. Dawn's character fares in the story. She's one of the people she meets in the world. I just wanted to mention, Pepe started her career at the beginning of the Shaw Brothers. Do you know the Shaw Brothers? The theater or film impresarios. She started when she was 17. So you have the long... 16. She started when she was 16. So she has a long history, 63 years of making films.
Yeah, 63.
63 years of making movies.
Yes.
Very cool. Hello. Yeah, I'm Suresh Kumar here from online, and I have online content for North America and South America. The question is for Jordan. Sure. The question is, I know independent filmmakers from Canada who looks for funding from India, And might be a few I'm able to guide them through, but most of them don't get funding. If you could put more insight on how these independent filmmakers, how you support them and what better could be done, we'll have an insight so that we could also follow something in our country.
Right. Okay. That was a question?
Yes.
Or, okay.
And a system which runs in your country. One. Two is how do you feel you can promote more? Because I get a lot of inquiries from Canada movie makers saying any funding they look.
Right.
They're all people who have made a few movies also.
Any funding in India, are you asking?
They're asking for funds from India to make a movie in Canada.
I see.
They give a director's name or a producer's name or a subtitle or something. It's an agreement. Even I have these documents of the agreement they sent across.
Does anyone here want to touch on that? Sources of funding for...
Yeah, I mean, that's what we spend a lot of our time doing as producers and directors is looking for funding from various, and if there is an organic project, a co-production that could be an Indian-Canadian co-production, it's very likely then that the producers would start looking based on where they're going to shoot. It could be that the post-production is done in Canada and the production is done in India, for example. That might be one of the combinations. But there can be private funds that can be a part of that combination. They can get quite complex. I've done co-productions where you have 17 different partners, so it can be quite a lot of time to put it all together. And there's also then not just the money and the funding, but we're also looking for the talent. So we're looking for directors who can work with us, who actors, writers, and combine that talent through the co-production tree.
My question was, if there was adequate funding in Canada, they wouldn't look for India. But is there any issues in the funding for independent movers from your?
Oh my gosh, funding is. My understanding is that it's always an issue. Almost no matter where you go, it's always an issue. There's never enough. We do absolutely in Canada. We do have a number of programs, and through our Council for the Arts and so on. There are various sources that support filmmakers and do provide some funding in Canada. But I think it's always going to be part of the equation.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, if there are no more questions.
No, just one more. So, Stephen and Ma'am Mina, you worked together, I think, on 3 productions. You had mentioned somewhere that you are heading into the genre of horror and kind of science fiction. Are you planning something as your next venture?
Oh, well, I'm sure we'll plan something. I don't know if it's going to be horror science fiction.
I think we have a comedy up next.
Comedy
yeah, I can't do horror. I believe what I see. So... thank you very much. I will say one thing in terms of co-productions or how we get funding. It's really about the idea. So if I could sit up here, it doesn't matter what color I am, how old I am, what gender I am. If I can tell you a story right now and it touches hearts across cultures, then that's a good co-production idea. I don't think it's not Lego where you go, I have an Indian star and a Canadian star and a Chinese star, but I have no story. I have nothing to touch you. That's not going to get funded. But if, what's that?
Very well said.
Yes. Yeah. So it always starts with the heart, I think.
Good point.
Thank you.
For a photo opportunity.
Sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Please.